https://discord.gg/flat-earth. Welcome to 24/7 Flat Earth Discord channel. Be sure to go to VC Chi Check and 1 to get your VC verification tags to get involved in the conversation about our Earth. Be sure to bring your verifiable Earth curvature evidence, though.
Enemy spotted.
Adam!
Adam was here before, right? Adam, you don't have any perms in the server.
It was
Adam,
an
you've
inside
been
joke,
unmuted.
stupid Asian man.
Just unmuting Adam so he can say hi to the panel.
Hello.
Hi Adam, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing alright.
Cool, man. What brings you by to this Discord?
I just kind of wanted to understand the flat earthers better, you know?
Well, that's a description, you know. When you say flat Earth, that's a sort of letters composing words. That's not. You can't grab flat Earth. You can't go grab it and put it in a cup and paint it purple, can you? Like, it's just. I mean, you can grab the letters and paint them whatever color you want, right? But it's a term that has a definition, a meaning, right? And people describe something with it.
Uh-huh. Okay. I mean, I guess it's, I want to understand why you believe that.
I wouldn't say it's as a belief that I'm would the conversation here is not about a belief with no reasoning. It's more as an acknowledgement of reality, the realist level, next to what people claim in the programming, right? The globe that you see on the screen, TV programming. They. Well, one second. My mic died. So you've been told certain things, right? You've been told that you live in this image in the TV. You never seen it, you never experienced it, but you still
Yeah, but I
believe it,
have.
right?
It's not completely baseless evidence, you know? Like, there is lots of evidence that shows that the Earth is a sphere, whereas there's, like, pretty much no evidence that points towards it being flat.
That would be
Like,
great if you brought some evidence.
What evidence do you have for it being flat?
No, you came here saying there's a bunch for the globe, so like you can start.
Okay. Let's start off. How are you explaining satellites? Like, what are they doing? Are they just floating around?
Yeah, I'm gonna shut up because I'm not in a. Yeah.
Oh,
Somebody
okay.
take it.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
satellite.
Is that what you're using, sir? Is your evidence one of your evidence?
That is one of my evidences. Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm not gonna touch this.
What
Somebody else.
what do you do with the satellites that you're saying? I use satellites to do this and do that, and you this. Since I know this about satellites, what do you know about satellites that convince you that the ground under your feet is a curving, spinning cartoon water ball? Go ahead.
Cartoon water. Okay. So the way it works is satellites have to like nothing can just float in the air without anything, because gravity will pull them down. So for that to happen, they have to be going around in orbit around something. So
So
that's not my
you
only
think
evidence anyway. I can.
so? This idea, you got it like you got it. You read this in a book, right? You saw the explanation. Satellites do things on the globe, orbits on the globe, right? You've seen this somewhere, and that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because you don't actually yourself do anything with satellites, do you?
Okay, fine. If we're gonna put satellites aside, how are we saying, I don't know, something like the moon, right? You can actually see the moon. You can see that it's round, and you can see it moving through the sky. So are you just saying the moon's just like a flat object that's like projected
We'll
onto
go
the
to the
sky?
moon. We'll go to the moon. We'll go to the moon, right? We'll go to the moon after this one, okay? So we're still in the ground. We devise a device technology. We put a bunch of things together, like aluminum. We put circuits together. We add a camera, a GPS. We add all these things together, and we call it a satellite. and then what? We send it up, right? Have you seen like people can attach a balloon to these devices and send them up? So that doesn't necessarily will prove to you that you live in a water ball curving through space, does it? You're saying that, okay, we have technology, we send it up, therefore I live in a curving spinning ball. Is that your conclusion?
No, my conclusion isn't the fact that we can send things up in space. It's the way that they stay up in space. Like if you're saying the balloon example, right? You'll send the balloon up and then it will fall back down again because it doesn't go into orbit. Whereas
Yeah,
satellites,
like
they
the
go into
satellites that
orbit
you're
and then just
talking
keep going around.
about, the fall with the balloons. Yeah, the satellites that you're talking about, they fall all over the place with the balloons attached to them. You know this, right? You've seen this, right? Have you?
Yeah, no, satellites eventually will fall out of their orbit, but they will stay in there for a very long time.
But the ones that you're saying that stay over there for a very, very, you remember the Chinese satellite over the U.S. that was shut down? Remember that one?
Vaguely, yeah.
If he's not, I just posted a picture
Oh
of
wait,
it
no,
in the
no.
text
Isn't
thread.
that wasn't that a weather balloon or something? It wasn't actually a satellite.
Well, you can look at it. It's I posted a picture of it in the text chat.
Yes, that's not a satellite. That's still like a balloon.
But this is the thing that so what's you're talking about certain the satellites that you're talking right now, the ones that you're trying to portray to us is the ones that you've seen cartoons of, because you haven't seen these satellites without the balloons in real life, have you?
Well, I've not seen them in real life because they're too far away for me to see with
Exactly
my
my
bare eyes.
point.
So,
So
okay.
you haven't seen them.
Hey, so I need you to go ahead and look in the live stream voice text that's above the live stream you're talking in. Click on that so you can see what we're typing.
Yeah. Okay.
So bro, my only but yes, satellites, right? Technology. We have cell phones. We have we have imagery from very high up. So let's say an airplane can be a satellite. You know, some of these drones.
No,
Uh,
airplanes aren't satellites. There's a
okay,
difference
okay.
between a satellite and an airplane.
Let me scratch that. Let me scratch that, right? But when you look and you want to actually look into the devices that are actually usable and are labeled satellites, you're gonna find out that there's balloons attached to them. When you look at the real ones, the ones that are released by the government agencies, the weather, the NASA themselves, they are the biggest consumers of helium because they send satellites on balloons very high up. Now, the ones that you're talking about in the cartoon globe, you never seen those. You can't prove it. You never seen any
Okay.
of those.
I'm not entirely sure what your point is. You're basically saying I don't have superhuman eyesight to be able to see satellites in orbit, therefore they're not real. Whereas we do
It's
have like
okay,
pictures from
Adam.
these satellites, research that's carried out
Let's
on
say
them that do prove their
forget about
existence.
satellites. How does satellites prove curvature? Have you ever
Yeah.
measured or know anybody
Yeah,
that proves curvature? That
yeah, because
print.
okay, if we're
Forget
saying that
about how.
there's so if we're saying that if you're trying to say that satellites are held up by balloons, right? Then that okay,
No,
fine,
I'm
that
not
doesn't prove
saying
they're
that.
flat.
Hey,
But
hey, hey, no, no, wait. I'm not saying that. The ones that make and build the satellites, the ones that put everything together, once they have the device all together, all the pieces the correct way connected, one of the last things they connect to them is a balloon. What do you want me to do?
wait,
That's the way it works.
uh, okay, where are you getting this evidence that there's a balloon attached to these satellites? Like you're saying I have no evidence. You're just saying this with absolutely nothing to back it up.
Okay, so you're ignorant about it, therefore it's not true.
No, 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 no. I'm not saying I'm. I want to be educated. Show me your sources for where these balloons are coming from. Because like you're just pulling things out of nowhere. So you can't call me ignorant for wanting to see your evidence.
Loons, you ever heard of those? Google Loon, ever heard of that? Yeah.
What do you mean? What are you? You're just throwing words at me now. That's not evidence of anything.
Do you speak any English?
Fine,
Look at the
fine.
live stream voice text. Somebody posted some videos there for you, so you can look at those.
The problem that you have in right now is that you're saying an idea that I have about this technology going into a place that you cannot verify, the vacuum of space, because you mentioned space, right? Outer space. You're saying that these things are going to a place that you haven't verified. You never been there, and
you can't even prove that you can have these things going into the cartoon that you're claiming. That you're having a lot of you're doing something. It's called claim stacking. You haven't proved that the curve is curving, that the earth is curving. You haven't proved that it's spinning. You haven't proved any of this, and you're already saying somewhere out there in outer space there's proof that the thing
Look,
below my feet is spinning globe.
okay. You're saying I've not been to space. Like that's not that to for something to exist, you don't have to have been there. Like I know Australia exists and I've not been there. Like that's such a weak argument for claiming that something's not
What?
true.
That's not the same thing that like you're claiming. Well, there's people that live in Australia right here in this VC right now.
Yeah, and there's also people that live in the ISS who are in outer space right now. So I'm
Right
not
here
entirely
right now.
sure. Well, obviously not in the VC, but at this
Yikes.
moment in time, there are people in the ISS. Yes.
You wanted evidence of satellites being launched into the sky with balloons, so you have some in the live stream voice text. Just go there and look at it
Okay.
if that's what you
Okay.
wanted.
Look, I'm not
And you're
debating.
are you saying hey are you saying that the people in the ISS they're in outer space or what is this ISS that you're claiming? Is that is that space?
Yeah, they're in space.
Uh, how high how far is space? How far is it?
Um, I'm not sure what the exact definitions are, but there's like different layers of the sky, and there's like some satellites that are in like lower orbits or higher orbits. Again, I don't know the exact distances involved, but yeah.
So you're not sure, but you're sure it is what you think it is, but you're not sure what it is.
No. Okay. Do you need me to pull up the exact numbers of what counts as outer space?
Well, because there's a bunch of claim stacking that you're doing, but you don't know anything about it. You're just claiming stuff on top of it, and yeah, but you don't know. But you're just claiming it.
No, I'm claiming that
Uh,
there are above in the atmosphere of the Earth. There are several layers that count towards different things, and then once you get past a certain point, you're outside of the Earth atmosphere and you're in outer space.
Prove it.
Hey
How
Adam,
do you want me to?
you asked for evidence of what we were saying about satellites and balloons. Well, I posted a video from NASA of them launching one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know if
What?
he doesn't have perms, so can he not look at the voice
No, I'm
text
looking
chat?
at it. I can
Okay.
see it. Okay. One thing, right? I'm not arguing that NASA sends things up into space with balloons. That is not what I'm arguing. What I'm arguing is there's two separate things. Like they send things up in balloons, and then they can also send things up to further out into space with rockets. So
Stop the
you
cap.
putting me, so you putting a video of um balloons getting launched into like lower space is not disproving the existence of satellites.
Okay, show me a photograph of one of these satellites in outer space taking a photograph of another satellite in outer space. Go ahead.
Photo of a sat. Okay, let me see if I can find one. But space is a very large
Oh, this is
place,
gonna be
and
fun.
if you
You're
think
gonna
about
bring
it, the
the
chances of
Artemis
something that
taking a
small.
photo of the moon. Anyways,
Sorry, what was it?
anyways, my bad. I know I'm taking him to the weeds. Anybody want to bring any points? Because you still out there in space, and the next topic, bring whatever you want to bring. But then you're saying we're gonna look at the moon and
I'd like to ask him a moon question. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Can you tell me why India faked that moon landing?
What? What? What do you mean faked it?
I mean, they faked it
I don't. I don't know anything about this moon landing, but
Oh, you know?
why are you presuming it's fake?
because they used the same Earth from NASA
They
for the
used the same
background.
Earth from NASA. I think we're all using the same Earth.
that's a good one. Well, we're all using the same Earth. You know that people draw. Have you ever seen children drawing the globe, like in a drawing the Earth? Draw the Earth. Have you ever done that? Draw the Earth yourself?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Like,
you've done it, right? Does it look exactly the same as your brother when he draw it, or your cousin, or your neighbor? Does it look the same?
well, no, because we can't accurately draw the Earth as a child. Like, we're not going to get every single country and
Is
landmass looking the
is
same.
that
What?
is that why when NASA and China and India and they all draw it like differently? Is that the same problem when you making drawings about a cartoon? It's
Well,
never the same.
What do you mean it's never the same? In what, like, in maps? The reason that maps will look the same is they use different projections because it's hard to draw a sphere on a flat surface. If that's what you're referring to. I'm not entirely sure what you mean.
I know.
Are you still
Because
looking for that picture of the satellite? I just want to know because I really want to see that.
the
Are you
difference
doing
is
that?
that I'm talking from a position that I know that when I draw the cartoon of the Earth, of this Earth, right, the round Earth, when I draw it, it's similar to the drawing that you're getting, this imagery from NASA, the Chinese satellites, and the whatever. It's the same thing. It's just a better version. But the difference is that you believe that their cartoon is real, and you live in that cartoon, and that's why you don't get it.
Wait, do you think NASA and that are just drawing the Earth? They've not. But like, there's literally pictures of the Earth that they've taken from
tell you
Moon
they
and.
do it.
Stop the cap.
No. I'm not saying that. They tell you they have to draw it.
Yeah, they draw it. They just tell you straight out they have to draw it.
No, I'm not saying it. They're saying it.
I'm not entirely. What's your point here? I'm not sure what you're trying to.
Look at
convince me
what
here.
I just posted.
Okay.
This is what he's talking about. Look at what I just
Listen,
posted.
my down to the earth point is that you don't live in a cartoon. That's my point. You don't live in this cartoon that was given to you through the images. Okay.
Yeah, the point is you only know the Earth by these pictures that you keep seeing over and over of the same Photoshop drawn by NASA Earth.
And so, do you have some non-photoshopped pictures of a flat Earth anywhere that you could show me?
I do.
Okay, let's see it.
All right, here, I'll post in the chat right now. You've seen this before, though. Okay, so that's just a picture of a flat ocean. You see that every time you're at the beach. Yeah, there you go.
This is a picture of a flat Earth. That's
Yeah.
a picture of 2 oil rigs. That's.
Oh yeah, but what else?
What do you mean not else?
Well, there's not just oil rigs in the picture. There's also a flat ocean. That
Okay, but-
horizon is 10 times further than it would be on a curving ocean, so that's definitely a flat ocean. So that's a flat Earth. There you go.
There it is, flat Earth. That was quick. You got faster at that, heretic.
Yeah.
That is not a picture of a flat Earth. You're just taking a picture of the ocean, and then
Yeah,
just
it's flat.
decided that means Earth is flat.
Exactly.
Wait, hang on.
Where's the curve?
Let me just read this one sec.
Yeah, the ocean would have to curve if it were a ball like they're showing in those NASA cartoons. So it can't be that.
So we're saying that these are 6 miles apart, and you're thinking there's going to be like a highly visible curve. Like at that sort of distance, it's going to be very minimal.
No. Geometric horizon should be at 1.2 miles on that cartoon ball that they show.
No, 6 miles apart, there is not supposed to be 1.2 miles.
No, I said the horizon should be 1.2 miles. If
What do
it's
you
a
mean
globe,
there should be 1.2
and if
miles?
it's
It should be
curved.
1.2 miles away, right? Okay.
Yeah.
No, the horizon is a lot farther than 1.2 miles.
Okay, then give me the proper horizon formula for the globe.
You actually make me do this. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I'll make you do it. Because I have it and you're arguing with it, so you give us the proper one.
Yeah, give us the correct math of the globe. Come on, just.
Yeah, where's all this evidence he claimed that he has that he can produce? I'm still waiting.
Wait, I think this is an important point. Listen, one second. I think this is an important point that Heretic is bringing. So let's try to bring this point home. Hopefully.
Exactly. We're just going to get the numbers for Earth right now.
Yeah,
unless-
the
go
numbers
ahead.
that you say it's the real world, the numbers for the globe, the geometry, that one that you believe in. Well, can you show us?
Frantic Googling.
Will you're putting me on the spot to find the actual numbers for whatever kind of nonsense you're trying to bring up here?
I gave them to you, but you argued with them, so now we need the correct ones from you.
No, because I barely even understand what this diagram's trying to say. Like,
His diagram shows the Earth is flat, and you say it's curved, and we just showed you it's flat.
okay, can you explain this diagram to me? I'm not sure what's happening in this. There's just loads of numbers getting thrown around here.
Okay. P. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, Q, every horizon distance must be no further than 1.2 miles. Geometric horizon formula for the globe: 1.2 miles times the square root of the observer height in feet. Camera is placed 1 foot off the sea level there. We see the horizon past the furthest rig at 9.4 miles. So it's further than 9.4 miles, therefore much further than 1.2 miles, which it would have to have been for a 1 foot observer. So no globe.
So basically, you're saying you should not be able to ever see further than 1.2 miles.
I didn't
standing
really say
above the
that.
ground.
I just said that's where the horizon should be if you're 1 foot off the ground.
Right. Okay.
So if you're a 6 foot guy, probably around 3.5 miles is where the horizon should be at all times.
And so you're saying you can see these oil rigs that are 6 miles away and 9.4 miles away. So
9.4 miles and 6 point something miles.
well, the reason you can see them is because they're not on the surface of the ocean, isn't it?
What?
No, like they're sticking up. I'm
So
confused.
listen, no.
Farthest one should be
Well,
60.
but 1 second. So it's not about the oil rigs, okay? The horizon, in the globe, that has a certain geometry because it's a certain size. That globe that you drew with your brother, and the NASA gave you a better version of it, right? That thing that has a geometry very specific. You can Google it, right? So if you are observing at a certain height, you're going to have a limitation of view because behind that limitation is the curvature of the earth. So things are going behind that geometry, right? Is that I mean, are we contesting that if something goes behind the curvature of the earth, we cannot see it anymore?
No, I'm not contesting that. That is very
Oh,
reasonable.
okay, so good that you get that. So now, when you go to the realist level, and this example, this photograph that comes from a video, you can see the horizon over 10 times beyond the claim of the globe, the claim where it's supposed to be, at 1.2.
Right. Okay, I've got a question for you then, right? So why can't we, like, say you're in like America, why can't you point a
We're gonna
telescope
move
and
on.
really
Yeah,
start?
you just moved
Hey,
right
hold that
along.
question.
You just
Hold that
moved right
question.
along.
Listen. Hold that question. But we need to come to some type of cohesive conclusion, some type of conclusive conclusion. If we somehow
I could answer that
you
question with the conclusion.
heretic, can you bring this point home or something,
Yeah, I
please?
could answer that question with the conclusion. The reason is not because there's a geometric horizon of the Earth as there would be on a globe, as you just saw. That's why.
Okay, fine, whatever. But what I'm saying is, if we're saying the Earth is flat, you should be able to see infinite distances, right? Like as far as you want on the Earth.
No, because you just saw it flat, and we're not seeing an infinite distance. There's still a limit. It's just there's no curvature limit.
Why is there no limit? Like, if it's a flat Earth, why can't I see from the UK to America with a powerful enough telescope? Why is
Weather
that not
visibility
possible?
obviously would be one reason.
Adam, you know when you're reading a book on your hand, have you ever held a book on your hand?
Oh yeah, of course I've held a book.
Yeah, and you can read the letters on your hand of that book,
Yeah.
right? What if you put that book 1 kilometer away from you? Can you read the letters?
I just said if you had an extremely powerful telescope. So if I had an extremely powerful telescope, yes, I could read that book a mile away.
And do you have any telescope that can see infinitely forever and ever, and you can see whatever? There's
Yes,
no such a thing.
we have telescopes that can see billions of light years away, so I'm pretty sure we can see to America.
But there's a problem right there because you are pre-assuming distances of the things in the sky, even though you have not verified this, right? You pre-assume, you made up stories about that stuff in the sky. You replace it with more cartoons, like remember the cartoon that you draw about the globe, and NASA gave you another version of it that you like better. So you make cartoons about the luminaries, and now you're saying, if I pull out a telescope and I see the luminaries in the sky, therefore this telescope can see infinitely forever. The, bro, like there's no logic behind that. There's no can't just make that claim and say, "Yep, that works." So
Okay.
you're saying that you should be able to use a telescope and see all over the Earth everywhere. I should be able to go here to the East Coast, pull out my telescope, and see Europe from the East Coast of the U.S. and I'll see the west of Europe, like Scotland or something, because I have
Yeah,
a telescope, bro.
exactly. If the Earth's flat, then you should be able to.
Okay.
Well, if the Earth is a globe,
Wait,
if the Earth is
Hey,
a
by the
globe,
way-
it must have a geometric horizon. It doesn't, so that's not really an argument for the globe saying we should see forever. That's just like your faulty expectation of what should happen if we're not on a globe. But we've already shown that we're not, so
No, I need an explanation. Like, give me a good explanation of why you can't see infinite, like as
Can you
far as you
see-
want to on a
hey,
flat
can
Earth.
you see
Like, you're not telling me
Bruh.
anything here.
Can
So you're
you
saying-
see through clouds? Can you see through dust?
Have you ever watched the Weather Channel on the lady? You know, the lady with the dress, cute lady, Mexican lady on the Weather Channel. She says, "Today the visibility is 10 miles." Have you ever heard that? Have you ever seen that?
I've not. No, I don't really watch the weather.
Oh, so
Okay.
he's gonna
Have you
deny
have you
that
ever been
he's never heard of
driving? Have you ever been
visibility.
driving and there's fog and you have to turn on the fog
Yeah.
lights? You ever done that yourself?
Yeah, but what
So
about
you know
okay?
you know that between you and the object that you observing, there is air in between, right? And in that air, there's particles, there's humidity, there's a lot of different things that will block your view. You the observer, and it will block an object, right? Is there a contention against that?
Okay, but what about a clear day then, when there's not fog or anything like that?
So remember the book example, right? Or let's say a brick. You hold a brick in your hand, and you can you have that brick, and you see it in your hand, and if you put that brick 1 mile away, you're not gonna be able to see the brick. Same thing with a building. The whole building is a million bricks. It's in front of you, right? The brick is in front of you. The building is in front of you. If you go 100 miles away from that building, guess what? You're not gonna be able to see it. It's pretty simple, bro.
Right. So you're basically saying and if there was perfect visibility,
Stuff
you
in the
would be able
way,
to see it
bro.
then.
There's stuff
The
in
only
the way,
problem
and
is
there's also angular resolution, and there's also darkness. You know, if
wait,
it's
angular
daylight,
resolution? Are you saying there's an
you know,
angle to the Earth? Oh my god.
angular resolution.
Check this guy out.
There is a
So,
combination of things that are not gonna allow you to see something that is certain distances or visibility, resolution, all that stuff, and stuff
Yeah,
in the
Adam.
way. It's gonna let you see things beyond that stuff in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Adam, what you could do is you could go to Google and you could find the maximum visibility at sea level across the surface of the Earth based on light attenuation through the atmosphere. So, the atmosphere is full of substance, right? Gas. And the cumulative effects of the occlusion of the gas limit your vision, depending on the wavelength, to as little as 150 to a maximum of about 320 miles. So just looking through the atmosphere alone would limit what you could see to 320 miles maximum, depending on the wavelength. So the idea that you could see infinitely far across the Earth is false, just based on that fact alone, let alone talking about the types of optics you're using.
Stupid.
Okay, fair enough. I'll concede that the visibility means you win. That's I didn't think of that before. Okay, so I've got a question for you. So you're saying that like all the pictures of the Earth or whatever are just children's cartoons, drawings of what they've been fed by NASA or whatever, right? Like what do you think the Earth looks like? Like what is your image of the Earth? Like if you were to show me a picture of the Earth, what is it?
Oh, you want like a god's eye view of the Earth?
I don't think anyone's claiming that. I don't think anyone knows.
Well, I'll tell you this much, friend. I'll tell you this. If I went outside, and I'm outside right now, and I took a GoPro camera, right, with an extreme arced lens, and I looked down at the Earth, where I'm standing right now, what I would see is some dirt. Let's just call that land. And then over here's a puddle. Let's call that water. So I would see disparate amounts of water and land. Lo and behold, when I go outside, that is what I see. So what the Earth looks like is an arrangement of land and water, and that's what it is.
But all the arranged pieces of land and water are all together, so they've got to form some sort of shape, surely. They're not just like some shapeless blob or whatever. Like, what is it?
Unknown.
Okay, unknown. Interesting. So do you think there's like an edge to the Earth, or like what? What do you think?
There, let me answer that one more time. Unknown.
Yikes.
But why is that
I want
unknown?
to stop
Like,
you. I want to stop you right there. Hold on. I want to stop you right there, and I want to ask you the same exact questions. All right, you ready?
okay, go for it.
Where is the edge of the universe?
The edge of the universe. Interesting.
Yeah, where is it?
I don't
What
think there is an edge
shape?
to the universe.
Oh, okay. So what if there's no edge to the universe, what shape is the universe?
The universe doesn't have a shape because it's constantly expanding. So the shape is constantly changing.
Okay, so if the universe is constantly expanding, then the point in free space relative to the center of expansion, dividing all the radii from the center, would create a boundary, which would be the edge. What is beyond the edge of the universe?
I don't think we know that yet. You know, we don't have powerful enough telescopes to be
Oh,
entirely sure what's
excellent,
happening
excellent,
next.
excellent. So then would it be fair for me to tell you, since you don't know that, then your entire point is moot?
No, that would not be fair because
Okay, so
we've
then the
been to all
same
parts of the
applies.
Earth.
Oh, so says you. Have you been to all parts of the earth, or did you hear someone say they've been to all parts of the earth?
I've not been to all parts of the Earth, but we do have people that live in all the different countries of the Earth, and they're not like in some direction they say there's nothing out there, and then they can't go any further
Okay,
because they're going to disappear into
cool. Yeah,
nothingness.
let's say that's true. Okay, so how many people have traveled beyond the greatest distance away from north? How many in the history of mankind?
How many people have been to the South Pole? Is that what you mean?
Oh, no, not the South Pole necessarily.
I don't understand your question.
Okay, retract that. Tell me how many people have traveled to the alleged South Pole?
Uh, Probably a few hundred if I'm guessing. I don't know exact numbers.
Stop the cap.
Okay, so let's say that's true right there. A few hundred people went to a location in an icy land, right, where certain magnetic anomalies occur. They therefore concluded, right, and told the story to certain other people, not all of them, but some of them, that this location where certain magnetic anomaly exists must be a geographical location at the bottom of the sphere, right? Which is not validated at that particular point. So what do we have here? We have a story from people who've been at a particular point on the Earth telling you that that equals being everywhere on the Earth. That doesn't make sense.
So you think that they went to the South Pole and then stopped because they couldn't go any further? Like,
Hell no.
Well, dude, have you ever researched into some of the expeditions by the government into charting Antarctica?
um, yeah, I know a little bit about some of the like early expeditions to the South Pole, but not that much.
Right. So Admiral Byrd was there for 30 years charting it. Right.
Okay.
And some of these people that go to the South Pole, they just arrive at a ceremonial South Pole. It's not even the real South Pole, right?
Yeah, because the magnetic South Pole changes location from year to year, so there's not like a fixed location.
There's actually 5 South Poles in the chart in the expeditions that they made. They talk about 5 South Poles.
Yeah, because the magnetic South Pole shifts.
Okay, so what is the magnetic South Pole?
It's the point in like the magnetic sphere around the Earth that like it meets the. I'm really
All right,
rusty
so
on my physics, but
it's a point when a certain magnetic anomaly occurs, right?
sure.
Right. So what does that prove about the shape of the Earth?
Wait, but hang on. So are we trying to prove that the South Pole doesn't exist anymore, or I'm
No,
confused now.
you seem to insinuate that if you arrive at the South Pole, then that means you've arrived at the button bottom of a sphere, and therefore you can't go anymore because if you step one step over it, you end up on the other side of the sphere. If you step a step that way, you end up on the other side of a sphere. What
You're
I'm
not
trying to
ending up.
do,
You're not ending up on
no,
the other
listen,
side of
friend,
anything.
listen. If you're at the button bottom of a sphere, right, a point, a dot, and you're arriving at it from one direction, and you continue over the dot in the other direction, you are now on the opposite side of a sphere split by a diameter. Okay? That's what it would be. You'd be coming up and over and around the object where you came from, and you end up back where you started. That's the claim of the globe, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just arriving at a point on an island or landmass and saying that that is what that point is not the same as validating that claim. For example, there's no circumnavigation that travels directly over the bottom of the South Pole allegedly and comes out the other side. There's nothing
Yeah,
validating that story is true.
You don't fly over the South Pole because it's dangerous. That's why they fly around other places. If
Okay,
that's your
that's
tendency.
great. So then, okay, look, that's fine, but it still corroborates my point, which is that nobody's proving this claim that it's a geometric bottom of a globe.
There is no like geometric bottom of a globe. A sphere has no bottom.
Oh yes.
It's just a
No,
sphere
no
that has
duh,
like
dude.
runways
No,
around it.
no duh, dude. That's a cool story, but the problem is that in common parlance and convention, the sphere is represented iconographically as having a top and a bottom, and we use those terms to describe where we are. For example, when we go north, we say, I'm going up. I'm going up to Canada. I'm going down to Florida. So we both understand what we're talking about here. We don't need to parse it out pedantically. Okay, the South Pole in common parlance is referred to as the bottom. The North Pole is referred to as the top. That is the way we talk about it in orientation because that is a convention that the first world has established for hundreds upon hundreds of years, right? So now that we've established that, that's what we're talking about because you got to think about it this way. If you imagine that the north is a center, right, and you can use compass coordinates to go away from north, then south would be the extremity. So if you could find a point where all of those things met at a single point and had non-parallel lines, you know, like non-Euclidean geometry, right? And you verified that by driving over that point and ending up on the other side in a circumnavigatory path, which you just said nobody does. So now we're left back where we started, which is we have an unvalidated claim that the South Pole is the boundary of the bottom of travel, right? So I would then submit to you, where's this evidence that you claimed that we've been to all parts of the earth? Keep in mind, it's a known fact that we haven't discovered or charted the Amazon rainforest. It's a known fact that we haven't discarded or charted or accessed the bottom of the ocean or the undercrust of the earth, right? So in fact, a majority of the earth has not yet been traveled to. That's the fact, okay? That's just the facts. So we have a place where we live where the majority of it has not been traveled to, yet we have all these people making claims about it. For example, what if you go down into the core, towards the core of the alleged Earth, and you find a completely different biome? Well, how would you know if it's there or not? You haven't been there.
So you think there's another Earth underneath our Earth?
Dude,
What?
it doesn't matter what I think. These ideas have been put forth. For example, recently, it's been quote unquote allegedly discovered that there is an ocean underneath the crust of the earth that is bigger than the ocean on the top. Did you know that?
What kind of ocean? Like, or like there's oceans of magma under the Earth, if that's what you're talking about. But
Water, brother, water.
wait, can I see the evidence for this? I'm kind of curious now. I've not seen that anywhere.
Yeah, it's so much so that it's actually an alternate tidal theory. That there's a highly pressurized ocean that has access to the other ocean, and as the plates shift, it pushes the water up and down.
Wait, okay. So you think the moon doesn't affect the tides then?
irrelevant.
What?
It could be a complex cause. That doesn't matter, dude.
How did
Because
you
the moon.
the moon
Think
with
about it.
what
The
you
moon.
say?
Yeah, exactly. It's always like that, brothers. It's always like whenever you say something that seems to have any hint of challenging an established globe, quote unquote, explanation, all of a sudden it's immediate. It's almost like you've been programmed, sir, throughout your life for these responses.
No, it's almost as if I've seen the evidence pointing towards all these things, and now you're just coming in with unsubstantiated claim that there's a. You're like, oh, there might be an ocean underneath that does the tides. You've got nothing backing that up, but you're just like, I'm so anti-science, so anti all the evidence that I
Oh,
just need to
oh.
make things up to
Okay,
solve this
perfect,
problem in my head.
perfect, friend. You anti-science. I'm glad you said that. So, what I would like you to do, and I'm being very precise with my words here. I want you to scientifically validate the alleged thing that you seem to have put forward that the moon is the cause of the tides. Please scientifically validate that.
AI,
Yeah,
real
so
quick. I just
okay,
posted what he just asked for. By the way, the discovery of the ocean that you were talking about.
I'll have
I
a look at that in a
posted
sec,
it
but
beforehand.
I'll have a look in a sec. I'll explain the moon thing. So what you can see is you can see the position of the moon in the sky, and the way that the moon affects the tides is that the gravity of the moon pulls the water towards it. So you can see that when the moon is over that particular part of the ocean, that's when there's high tide, and when the
Yep,
moon's on the
excellent.
other
All
side,
right,
then it's a low tide.
perfect. So stop right there, and keep in mind that I asked you precise words in my sentences, which was scientific validation. What you gave me is correlation. Now I want to chart right now a mantra, which is an axiom of logic, which is this: correlation does not equal causation. Correlation with explanation does not equal causation. That is an axiom of scientific philosophy, sir. So what you have presented to me is something that by the axioms of scientific philosophy is not scientific in principle. When I asked you for scientific validation, when you accused me of being anti-science, sir, that's very rude, don't you think?
So basically, you're saying you can't ever prove anything because you're just going to say that it could just be a
What?
correlation and there's nothing that actually verifies it.
No, that's not how all things work. Some things science applies, and some things it
So
doesn't.
why is saying that when the moon is over a certain place there's high tide? Why is that not evidence? Why are you saying that's just a correlation? What makes that correlation rather
No,
than
no, no,
actual
no,
evidence?
friend. It's a correlation by categorical definition. That's what it is. I mean, what more needs to be said? You're telling me this thing is around when this effect occurs. Okay, now put that into a scientific hypothesis and scientifically validate it. When you accomplish that, then and only then can you call it science. Until then, you have a correlation and an explanation. That's it.
Okay, interesting. So you're saying that like everything has to have like direct evidence, like nothing can be pulled into question or whatever. But again, you've
Sorry.
Dude, when you look at my friend, when you want to make a claim about scientific evidence proving the nature of a cause and effect relationship, you had better not bring a correlation with an explanation. You cannot publish a correlation with an explanation as scientifically validated and verified anything. Now, don't get me wrong, you can in certain circles where a bunch of retards who are actually pseudoscience will actually stamp an approval of your nonsense. But when
It's
applied
hilarious you're calling it the.
when
Okay, never mind.
applied, no, dude, you think I'm wrong? Go look up the crisis in peer review. Go look that up. You will find that when audited, the majority of alleged scientific papers don't even pass the muster of peer review, let alone science. It's a big circle jerk of people who are in the same fields approving of what everyone else does without proper scrutiny because they
I'm,
have a vested interest in
okay,
their
okay,
field.
wait. You're saying this is a circle jerk. What is going on here exactly? Like you guys are just doing exactly the thing that you're accusing everyone else of,
No, we're
and
not,
you haven't
dude.
even.
No, we're not.
Well,
No, we're
well,
not,
well.
dude.
Hold on, hold
Listen.
on, hold on,
Go
hold on,
ahead,
hold
bro.
on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So now we have to slow this down. So I don't want to wrong you in making you feel like you're not getting your point across and like we're not listening to you. You just said we're doing the same thing. what specifically are we doing, and how is it sequitur?
Okay, I'm saying what you guys are doing is you're coming up with claims, you have nothing backing them up, and then you're just in this little circle jerk, all just
Can
being
you
like,
be
yes,
can you
you're
be
right.
specific? Choose one instance. Because if I were to choose an instance, I would say, okay, let's talk about the geometric claim, or I would say, okay, let's talk about gravity, or
Oh yeah,
okay, something like that. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so you tell me one specific instance that we're doing what you're asserting we're doing, and then let's
Well, hold
talk
on.
about it.
Before
I
you
mean,
go, friend, we have to. Sorry, before you go, Adam, we have to parse it with the proper categories because we are talking about scientific validation and claims that are allegedly scientifically validated. So I want you, in light of that, to answer his question: what claims are we making that we're presenting as scientifically validated? Because that would be necessary to substantiate your conclusion. So by all means, go ahead and present one.
okay, in that case, not at all, because none of your claims are validated, so you're coming up with everything with absolutely no
What?
validation.
False,
I would agree with that.
false, 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 bro.
We're giving you an opportunity to. I mean, because you're not convincing anyone by vaguely asserting that we're doing it. Now, there's a live stream. It's running right now. You have the opportunity to give some direct claim that we've given and stated as scientific evidence.
You have claimed
Or
nothing scientific evidence because you guys don't believe in science. So why would I claim you're
Strong
like
What?
giving things
so
science?
you're not so you can't really justify your previous statement then. So it's really
Okay,
empty and full of air.
All right, Adam, pause for a second, brother. You just
okay.
said we don't believe in science, okay? Let's be clear what happened in the previous 5 minutes. You presented correlation with an explanation in the context of something that is science. I critiqued you according to proper scientific philosophy that correlation doesn't equal causation, which anybody can go read that this is the establishment of the scientific paradigm and the logic. You can look up Karl Popper, you can look up other philosophers of science. So, which one of us, my friend, actually
Okay,
believes in science, the true science, or in pseudoscience, like you presented? Because rest assured, friend, when you presented the moon as science, because you presented a correlation with an explanation, you, sir, presented pseudoscience because you claimed it was science, but it wasn't going through the scientific method to prove the cause and effect. You were only providing correlation. So, sir, which one of us believes in science and which one doesn't? You or
okay.
me?
So let's go back to this like moon tide thing, right? I have not studied this in any depth, so I do not have the like relevant scientific explanation to hand, right? But I do have an
So then you
explanation
didn't
which
have
has
so you didn't have enough information to have the conversation in the first place, let alone critique us, because you don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't like I've never argued with
I
fire,
just
so I
gave
don't have
you I
all of
just
the
gave you
relevant
I just gave
information.
you I just gave you an opportunity to give a very direct, specific example of something we have said. You saying we don't say anything is clearly a lie. We have thousands of hours of
Well, all
actually.
right, pause. Pause so I can speak to Elijah. So, Elijah, what I think is we're having a problem with the definition of science. So, when we talk about science, we're talking about the philosophical and logical process, right, of coming to truth by validating it through systematic experimentation when we're talking about cause and effect relationships. Now, he can correct me after I'm done. Don't interrupt me, Adam. What it seems he's saying is you don't believe in science. And when he says science, he means the explanations and stories that the mainstream puts out there about the nature of our world. Now, if he means that, then by all means, we don't have faith in the story. We want the validation. We want the actual scientific method. We want the direct measurements. We don't want this great grand story that's been eloquently written and eloquently spoken by pseudoscientists. We don't want that. We don't believe in that, rest assured. So, by all means, friend, why don't you define for us what you mean by science and then ask us if we believe in it?
What? Okay. So what you're saying is everything I'm saying is just
So he's not going to answer the question. Is that what's going on here? Because he's not answering any questions, fellas. He just keeps.
Creation Bear, nobody can hear you.
Yeah, brother.
I think he must address what AI just put on the table, and hopefully we can move on after that. Go
Did he
ahead.
jump out?
Yeah,
He jumped out. I
he
think.
quit.
Oh, he jumped out.
Damn.
Yeah.
What you're saying is,
Damn.
hey, good
Wow.
roast AI. That I burned the burnt flesh from way over here.
To
He
be
sounded
fair,
pretty young. I mean, to be
to be
he
fair,
sounded pretty young.
he hadn't built enough radiation shielding for that nuke.
Yeah, he's totally vaporized. Didn't even go through the process of burning. Yeah, have you seen people like touch really high current like electric cables and they just get turned into smoke, turned into
AI,
gas?
did you just Maui this guy? Just kidding.
Oh, too soon, I think. Comedy is tragedy plus time. We need more time.
What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.